Hello everyone, welcome to another TCG Talk video, and today we are going to be doing another tier list. This time we're going to be trying to order the heroes by number. I did a tier list video like a week ago and it had really good perception, but there was also some really upset people in the comments. So before I go any further with this video, the one thing I want to say is every tier list you ever see, whether it's made by the number one player in the world or it's made by a brand new player who just started the game that week, is subjective, right? There's people that have had good experiences with heroes and bad experiences. There's people that think maybe they do really well against certain heroes just because of their playstyle. And some people who don't. Like I know with me, Bolton is obviously a really strong hero. He placed top 8. There was 2 Boltons in the ProQuest top 8 at the calling Dallas Fort Worth. But I've normally not had a ton of trouble with Boltons, or I at least understand how they play. So to me, they're not as good. So this list, and any list anyone makes, really is based off their personal experiences. So try not to get upset about that. But that's my spiel. So if I have someone on here that you think is top 3 and I have them at 7th, like don't get upset about it. It's a tier list. Like the point of these is just to have some fun, give your opinion, and then see other people's opinions. And honestly, seeing so many different opinions in the first video I made of this is just awesome for the game. The fact that the meta is so balanced in a way that there's so many good heroes just shows how good of a state this game is in right now. So two house rules for this list as well. One, I'm not doing it by tiers. I'm doing it, no joke, 1st to 12th. I'm not adding the Blitz heroes, and I'm not adding the new heroes. Oldheim, Lexi, and Briar have not seen enough competitive play for me, at least, nor have I played enough against them consistently to put them intertwined with the other heroes. So I'm going to leave them out. However, I think all 3 of them are good. I think all 3 of them are kind of in the middle to upper middle range, but I put Lexi in my S tier as a tier last time, but for 1st to 12th, I just thought it was too hard to like match them up. The last rule I want to say is I may put one hero at 3rd and one hero at 4th. You know, that doesn't mean the 4th place hero can't beat the 3rd, right? There's definitely matchups. There's probably times where the 11th place hero that I'm going to list beats the 2nd, right? So again, don't get too bent up out of shape about this. This is literally just to have fun and kind of, see different opinions on where people hold certain heroes. So for me, it's in no particular order. The only thing I'm going to do is save the top 3 for the last 3. So if you want to skip to that, you can. I'll try to put it down below, like where each portion starts. For the 10th, 11th, and 12th positions, right? Obviously, 12th for me is Azalea. I have Azalea at 12th. She's obviously can win games. There's people who've done well with Azalea, but to me, she can't defend it all. And in order to win, so many things have to go your way. Like you have to do really well. You have to know how to play the deck perfectly. And then you can't draw a dead hand. If you do, you lose. And so that's just my experience. Obviously there's people who do really well with Azalea. But overall, that's who I have as 12th. For 11th, for me, it's Kano. Again, I just don't think he is as viable as he could be. Playing stuff at instant speed, dealing a lot of chip arcane damage is good. I think in Blitz, he's definitely viable, but in Classic Constructed, he's not as useful as he could be. So I had him at 11th. And then for 10th, this is where people are going to start getting mad at me, which is totally fine. I have Dorinthia. Dorinthia obviously is very good at racing people. She can deal out a ton of damage if she gets counters on her Dawnblade. And she can hurt. However, like I said, my last tier list video, I think she's very one-dimensional. I think when you go up against Dorinthia, if you have any experience at all in the game, you know what she's going to try to do. Depending on your hero, you may match up bad against her, right? But overall, I don't personally like heroes. My personal opinion, right? I don't personally like heroes where they have one game plan. Like the reason I like certain heroes like a Viserai, like a Katsu, like even like a Prism, especially Prism, is when you flip that hero in a one-on-one matchup, your opponent doesn't know what you're playing yet, right? If you flip Viserai, your opponent doesn't know if you're playing OTK Viserai. They don't know if you're playing Sonata Viserai. They don't know if you're playing Aggro Viserai or a mid-range, right? So even though they can start to sideboard against you, they could still be wrong. With Dorinthia, when you flip that hero, I know what you're trying to do, right? There might be a few minor card changes, but for the most part, I know what you're trying to do. So that's why I have her listed low. Normally don't have a ton of problem with her, and you can play around her pretty easily. For me, at 9th place, I have Chain. I don't think Chain is bad, and Chain obviously could be a little bit higher. I'm not is not me overreacting to the seeds ban, but it did hurt him, and I think he did go down the list. Now, one thing I will say is I think once I get to like 7th place, I think any hero from like 7th to 1st, or not 7th to 1st, but like 7th to 3rd is interchangeable. Like 3rd place to 7th place is like this, like super close. So don't think these heroes are like, don't think 7th place is way worse than 4th place. It's not. They're very matchup based. They're very based on how the opponent plays that hero correctly. But so don't overreact if your hero's too low. But I have Chain at 7th or at 9th, personally, and I just don't know. I want to see how he does in this meta, but overall that's where I have him until he proves otherwise, that he's still good without seeds or still could be higher. For 8th, I'm putting Levia. Levia could be a little bit higher, and I actually had her higher on my tier list before, on the last tier list, but I just, like I said, from basically Levia until I'd say 4th place for this video, it's so close. You're splitting hairs. I just think Levia, the fact that if you don't manage her properly, you can kill yourself literally with blood debt, is a detriment to her. So I think she takes a really skilled player to player. I think if you can play her correctly, she's very oppressive, but you have to play her perfectly in order for her to be really good, and that can lower her on the list for me. But overall, she's a strong 7th place, to be honest. For 6th, I'm going to put Bolton. Like I said, Bolton just placed top 8 at the Pro Quest in Dallas. 2 Boltons, actually. So 2 out of 8 people were Boltons. So I understand how I look when I place him at 7th. I think Bolton's going to be really good in the early meta of this Tails meta, and I think he's going to slowly drop out, personally. I think right now he's like a top 4 and top 6 in most events. And then once you get to midway through the season, especially when you get to upcoming skirmish season, he's really going to go down. I think people are going to figure out the new heroes really well. I think people are going to figure out how to play Chain, Levy, and Viscerai really well. Prism's going to stay really good. And then Dash and Katsu and Reinar are kind of like your typical like good heroes. I just think he's going to slowly eke his way down. But just because I put him at 7th doesn't mean he's like way behind 4th place. I just have him a tad bit lower. So don't get too upset. There's a couple upset Bolton players in my last video. It was really funny. I love y'all's guys' passion though for your hero, and I respect it, and I hope you keep doing it. For 6th, I'm going to put Viscerai. I struggled not putting Viscerai a little bit higher, but I'm really high on Viscerai. I think he's going to do really well in the meta, and I think he's someone that could surprise you at the end of the season. I think he definitely is a top 8 caliber hero. And I'm really excited to see what he does late in the meta. Like I said, I like when you flip over Viscerai and you're playing Viscerai, your opponent does not know what type of Viscerai you're playing, and they could sideboard effectively against an OTK Viscerai, but not well against a aggro Viscerai. So I like the fact that he has a lot of different ways you can play him, and you're keeping your opponent off guard until literally a quarter of the way through the game. And sometimes by that point, it's too late. For 5th, I like Dash. Dash is like the epitome of consistency. I like where she is in the meta right now. She also plays top 8 at the Pro Quest. I think if I remember correctly, it was 2 Boltons, 2 Bravos, a Prism, Alexi, a Dash, and a Katsu. So you had a total of 6 different heroes, right? So it shows you how balanced the meta is. And like I said, the difference between Dash and Bolton at 5th and 7th is very little, almost near none, but that's just where I have them. But I like her consistency. I like her mid-range ability, her flexibility with her items. She can be countered pretty hard in some matchups, but overall, I think she's really solid. For 4th place, I have Reinar. Quit. Sorry, the dogs are barking. I have 4th place at Reinar. I think Reinar's going to be really good in this meta. I think he can put a lot of pressure on a lot of different people. And I think he also matches up really well against the against some of the high tier heroes that you're going to see here. And I think that he's going to be positioned really well. I think if you can get his discarded mechanic really consistent to where you're not discarding cards that hurt you, because that is the one thing with Reinar. If you discard the wrong thing off of one of his discard effects, it can really hurt your turn. So if you can make your ratios to where that happens as little as possible, I think he's really good. He can go wide, he can go tall, you can play him a little bit control-y, you can play him really aggro, obviously. I just like where he's at, and I think he's going to be one of the top heroes in the meta consistently. He's going to be similar to Viscerai. I think you're not going to see him in the top 8 the first 2 events, and then once we get to the last constructed event and stuff like that, I think you might see him in the top 8. And I think he's going to be really well. For third, I have Katsu. Specifically, aggro Katsu. I think control Katsu is dead for the most part. I don't see a control Katsu doing really well. I think aggro Katsu is the way to go with Katsu. You know what he's going to do. He's similar to Dorinthia, where aggro Katsu, like, he has a game plan. You know what it is. But the difference is when you flip Katsu initially, no one knows if you're playing control or aggro, regardless of what the meta is kind of like. And then not the hard thing with him, as opposed to Dorinthia, is you know what Dorinthia is going to do, and there's not really a whole lot of like variation where the opponent has to think of all these different things. With Katsu, like, you can know I'm an aggro Katsu. That still doesn't change knowing when to exact block me, when to over block me, when to not block me at all because I'm bluffing, when to allow me to trigger my Katsu ability, when not to. You know, you have to work around mash triggers and all this other things. He's very difficult to play against. You have to block and make perfect decisions against him at all times while he's keeping pressure on you. And with him, like, he honestly can just not block one turn and take the tempo right back, and it's really hard to race him. There's very few heroes in the game that can race him, and I think that he's just really well positioned. For second, I have Bravo. So you're going to know Prism is first, but we'll talk about Bravo first. Bravo, I got as second. Bravo's just solid. There was 2 Bravos in the top 8 at Dallas. There was 2 Bravos and 2 Boltons. They made up 4 of the top 8. He's just really solid, right? You can swing with the hammer. You can use his crush effects. You can do a lot of different things with him. He blocks super well. The new Ram's head that just came out in the new Tales of Aria set helps him even more. Now he's got the hammer, shield combo that's just oppressive. It's unreal. And he's just a hero where he's similar to Katsu, where I think he's always, until they make a huge meta change, going to be prevalent in the top 5 or 6 heroes of the meta. He's just solid. And first, I have Prism. Prism won the most recent event just now. She won the Call in Las Vegas, and she won the Pro Quest at Dallas. Prism can be played so many different ways, similar to Viserai, similar to Katsu, where you flip it and you don't know what type of Prism you're playing. Are you playing Control Prism? Are you playing Aura Prism? Are you playing the Herald Prism? Are you playing like a mixed mid-range Prism? She's very hard. You can tank her out by using the auras really well. Spectral Shield, her Merciful Retribution, which like puts you in a weird spot as an opponent, because as long as that thing's on the field, every time you kill one of her Spectral Shields, you lose life. And then when you attack her auras, it ends the turn immediately, and there's no way to work around that. So she's just very hard to deal with, and I don't see Prism slowing down. I think Prism's going to stay winning, so to speak, and she's going to do really well. And I think that overall, she's just hard to deal with, and I don't see it changing. I think Chain going away, or Chain not going away, but Chain being lesser now makes her even stronger. People love playing her. People who do play her at a high level have been playing her since she came out, so they know her really well. And I think she's really good. So this is my list. Hate it if you want, like it if you want. I will say, I want to reiterate one more time, if you got this far in the video, the difference between Rhinar and I would say Levia is very little, right? It's not like there's this huge gap between 4th place and 8th place. These 4 heroes right here, or these 5, are very similar. Like, it's matchup based, and it's how you play the hero. A Levia and a Bolton could easily beat a Rhinar or Katsu. It's just, that's where I think the heroes are, and it just shows how good of a state this game is in right now and how great the meta is. But this is where I would rank them. Let me know what you think. If you totally disagree, if you think Bolton should be 3rd and Katsu should be down here and Dash is over here, you know what I mean? Like, do whatever you want. It's not going to upset me. You could literally tell me Azalea is 5th. Like, I may disagree with you, but you know what I mean? That's the point of these lists. That's the point of fun content like this, is to give people an idea, or give people their own opinions, and have other people's opinions with it. I think that it's really good for the game. I think it's really good to understand different opinions, different heroes, different play styles, and I think that hopefully it stays this way. Hopefully it's not like, yes, Chain and Prism are 1st and 2nd and everybody else is below it. Like, we don't want a game like that, right? We want a game that has a bunch of different heroes with a bunch of different ways of winning. That's what makes the game fun. I can't wait to put Oldheim, Briar, and Lexi in here. I think I don't have exact placements for them. I would probably put Oldheim in this area, probably like you're in the 7th, 8th, 9th, or maybe at the top of 5th and 6th range. Briar for me probably is in the same range. And I think I have Lexi in the 1st through 5th category. But it's hard to rank them right now. We just haven't seen a lot of competitive play with them, but I do think they're all kind of like in this range type area, which is good. If you enjoyed the video, leave a like, comment, subscribe. Let me know what you thought of it. If you did not enjoy the video, that's fine too. Let me know your thoughts. I'm going to keep trying to make cool content like this. I'm going to be coming out with a couple Blitz decks here soon because Blitz season's coming up. I want to do more seal and draft stuff. It's just hard to facilitate that, obviously, with people and money and stuff like that. But I'll try to get that type of content out for you. And yeah, I hope you all have a great rest of your day. Thank you so much for watching another video of TCG Talk, and I will talk to you all later. Thank you so much.